Yo, what is up everybody? Today's gonna be a small video because I gotta get this out in within the next 12 hours. So this is gonna be my RLCS predictions for the major in Stockholm. Let's just jump into it. Okay, now going into this, I'm gonna assume that you are a fan of Rocket League esports and you already know what's going on. If not, I will link several videos explaining the format and what the major is gonna be like. I will pull up the rosters of all the teams once I announce their names. That'll be it. Okay, so if we look at the teams, we've got General NRG. The roster is Squishy, Muffins, Garrett G, and Justin, and they're going to be taking on Era Eternity, which is going to be Astromic, Snip, and Math. Math I really rate as a player, but I do believe that NRG is by far the better team. And I'm going to go 3-0, simple 3-0. There are lots of teams here that I think could play upset, one team in particular, but you're going to have to wait and see. Next up, we got Endpoint Renegades. Endpoint is Metza Norris, Relating Wave, and Seiko, obviously. Seiko's insane. Versus Renegades, which will be Fever, the upcoming Prodigy in OCE, and CJ and Kami. Now, this is tough for me because Endpoint is very inconsistent in Swiss. They always struggle in the Swiss stage, but if they make it out to the bracket stage, they will play incredible. So this is difficult for me. They are the number 2 team in the major seeding-wise, however, and they're up against Renegades. I think Renegades, it all depends on Fever. Fever can pop off, but he can also struggle. So if he does not do well, then they're going to struggle. But I'm going to go in and say 3-1. I think Endpoint is going to win that series pretty handedly. It's just later into the rounds as to how they're going to go. Alright, now Dignitas versus Tokyo Verdi. Ooh, Tokyo Verdi, the new team from the APAC region. Their roster is Realize, who everyone should know by now. He's absolutely insane. Maru and Tenhao versus Dignitas, who I think, in my opinion, is the best team in Europe as of right now. You've got apparently Jack, Yoris, and Scrubkilla. I think Dignitas played incredible in the second split, and I think if they keep up that kind of play, they will do just fine. Apparently Jack, absolutely nuts. Yoris, absolutely nuts, and Scrub is just, he's having a redemption season right now. So I'm just going to give it a simple 3-0. Tokyo Verdi's not used to it. It's their first LAN. Pretty simple for me. Now we got G2 versus Sandrock. Sandrock, this would be one of my upset teams if they had Ocalid. Seriously, I believe that if they had Ocalid, they could pretty easily be a top 8 team. I'm not sure as of how they're going to play with Senzo. They've got Senzo, Ahmed, and TRK. I don't know why I blanked on that, but yeah. They're a pretty solid roster. I just believe if Ocalid's there to play defense, then they're fine. TRK might have to fill into that spot because he's done it before when he played with Falcons. G2, when they get hot, Drees, JNaps in Chicago, they can be a whole other level. They are probably one of my favorites if they're on their game, but if they're not, then they might struggle. I'm going to give this a 3-1. I don't believe SRG is as ready. Like I said, if they had Ocalid, I would believe so. But Senzo, he's really coming out of retirement because he hasn't played any professional Rocket League in a while. But I do believe G2 will take that. Now here we got by far the best match in the Swiss as of round 1. And we've got FaZe Clan versus Vitality. FaZe Clan, first LAN for everyone except AJ. First killer. He's either going to crack under the pressure or he's going to do absolutely insane under the pressure. That's how the rookies always are. Illusion, I think he'll be fine because he's not really one that's under the spotlight. AJ, I believe he'll probably do just fine, but Vitality on LAN is a whole other thing. We've got KDOP Alpha and Fairy Peak. All of them are incredibly gifted, technically. And I think it's going to be 3-1 Vitality right there. Next up, we got BDS versus Complexity. Now, BDS, this is their first LAN. Complexity, this is their first LAN. Both these teams, this is their first LAN. I think if it comes down to it, you've got BDS with Extra, Monkey Moon, and Mark by 8. I think they're by far the better team compared to Complexity. It all depends on who performs better on LAN, in my opinion. Complexity, you've got Shad, Razebull, and AJG. I believe it's going to be 3-1 to BDS, just simply because neither of them are played in the LAN, and I think BDS is a better team. Next up, we've got another pretty good match. We've got Envy versus Ground Zero. Ground Zero, incredible team. You've got Torsauce, Express, and who is it? Amphis. Amphis, that's who it is. But yeah, Amphis is nuts. Torsauce has been to every single LAN that Oceania has been involved in, as far as I know. And then you've got Envy, they've got the home man in Turbo Pulsa. He's coming home. And then you've got Atomic and Mist. I think Mist will do fine. Depends on Atomic. This first LAN, I think they'll be fine against Ground Zero. So I'm going to go 3-1. Next up, we've got another very good match. We've got the 5th seed in EU versus the number 1 seed in SAM, and that is Furia versus Semper. Semper got Archie, Chaussette, and Casio, and then Furia, Card, Kaio, and Jan. Jan is a rookie coming into this. He played last season, but this is his first LAN. Archie is his first LAN. I think it depends on who plays better out of the two. Archie is more consistent, probably. Jan can be absolutely insane when it comes to the SAM region. I'm going to play upset. I think Furia is going to take it. That's my opinion. I think Semper, they're either going to be really on or really off. Now we got round 2. First matchup in the high matches, we've got Energy versus Furia. I just talked about Furia. I don't think they can beat Energy. I'm going to go 3-1 to Energy because Energy's absolutely cracked. Justin is nuts. And then Squishy and Garrett together is insane. Next up, we got Dignitas Vitality. Ooh, this is a banger of a match already. It all depends on how good Dignitas is playing on the day. But I think the consistency at LAN for Vitality is too much. I'm going to go 5 to Vitality. Endpoint versus Envy. In my opinion, Endpoint is not going to be able to handle the pressure. Seiko can't do it all by himself. I don't think Relating Wave is going to do as well as everyone thinks he might. I think Metsonaurus will be alright, but I don't know. Like I said, depends all on Seiko, but I think Turbo on LAN is nuts. I'm going to go 3-1 Envy. These are all some very good matches. We've got G2 versus BDS. G2, I think it's going to be, if G2 wins, it's going to be in 4 or 3. But I think if BDS wins, it's going to be probably in 5. I think G2 wins it, no doubt in my mind. I think it's going to be 3-1. That's what I'd go with. Now we've got Semper versus Era starting off the low matches. I think, no question, Semper 3-0s that. FaZe versus Tokyo Verdi. I think FaZe wins no matter what in this situation, but it all depends on how much APOC is going to show out when it comes to this. I'm going to go 3-1. I think Tokyo Verdi might get a game, but I think FaZe is going to bounce back from that game against Vitality, and they're going to win that. Ground Zero Renegades. Now, I know what people say that Renegades always beat Ground Zero. I think Ground Zero is going to take it. Torsauce has the LAN experience. I think CJ's last LAN was like season 7. Kami, I don't know. Fever, once again, depends on how he's playing that day. I think Renegades are not as consistent as Ground Zero, so I think Ground Zero wins that in 5. Now we've got Complexity Sandrock. Ooh, I think Complexity can be a very good team. I think Sandrock can be a very good team, but I'm going to give it to Complexity only because they always seem to do well under pressure. You saw them in the tiebreaker versus Space Station. It was a close game, but they managed to beat them. No one really expected them to win. People wanted them to win, but they didn't expect them to win, and they managed to win. I think Sandrock might struggle. I know Senzo and Ahmad are incredibly talented, and TRK as well, but I don't believe they're going to be able to handle it as much as O'Khalid would in place of Senzo. 3 high matches. This is for playoff 3-0, so a top 2 seed. We've got NRG Vitality. I think Energy's going to win that 3-1. And Vitality's inconsistency, I'm not sure about. And then we got Envy G2. This will be a very good matchup. A very, very good matchup. Envy, this could be an incredible story because people don't want them to be the 10 seed, even though they are. They could potentially be a 3-0 team here. Do I give it to Turbo or do I give it to the G2 boys? Breeze, it's his first LAN. I didn't mention that. I'm gonna give it to Envy. I think Atomic is more likely to have a good day than Drees would be. Atomic has a much higher ceiling than Drees does, in my opinion. So I'm going to give it to Envy. We've got Envy and NRG being the first 3-0 teams. So if you look at results in playoffs, you can already see these two have already qualified. Top 2 teams. Which, this is pretty freaking cool if you look at this. But yeah. Anyways, the mid matches. Dignitas Complexity. Don't think it's a question. Dignitas sweeps that. Ground Zero Endpoint. Ooh, that's a tough match. I'll give it to Endpoint in 5, but I think Ground Zero can very much upset when they play them in that. BDS Semper, gonna give it to 5 with BDS as well. Semper can pop off and beat them, like they did in Regional 3, but I think BDS is more consistent. They've got the better players. Furia FaZe. Furia on their good day. I think they 3-1. I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to give them 3-1 over FaZe. I think Ground Zero, FaZe, and Semper, all 3 of them can really make a difference. I don't think Dignitas is going to lose to Complexity if they play at all. I don't think so. The low matches, Sandrock versus Era. I'm going to go with the 3-1. Era is very unproven right now. Math is a very good player, but Astramic and Snip, both of them, first lands, so plus SRG can perform very well under pressure, especially if they're 0-2. And now we got Renegades, Tokyo Verdi, I think 3-1 to Renegades. Now we got round 4. Now this is going to be tough because I've got G2 Furia, which is going to be a very good match in my opinion. And you've got Vitality BDS, which is a very good match as well, and Dignitas Endpoint. Ooh, if we go G2 Furia, I'm going to say 3-1 to G2. Furia, they can be a very strong team. I highly rate them, but I think G2 will win that unless Furia is playing absolutely incredible. I think, in my opinion, Furia on a good day can be a top 4 team, but I don't think they're going to be any higher than that, and I think G2 is also going to be a top 4 team. But next we got Vitality BDS. Ooh, I'm going to give it to Vitality's experience. I'm going to give it 3-1 Vitality. No, we'll give it 3-2 Vitality. Because BDS, they've shown that they can beat Vitality. They know how to beat them. Vitality on land is a whole different thing. And we got Dignitas Endpoint. Ooh, I'm going to give it 3-1. 3-1 Dignitas because, like I said, Endpoint struggles in Swiss. And Dignitas can be absolutely incredible on their good days. So now we've got G2, Vitality, and Dignitas all qualifying. Next up, we got Semper Renegades. I don't see Semper losing that. I say 3-1. FaZe Clan SRG. Ooh, I think it goes to 5. And I think FaZe takes it. And then Ground Zero Complexity. As much as I want Complexity to win this game, I don't see an Oceania team not going to round 5. At least one of them. So I'm going to go 3-2 to Ground Zero. Sorry, Complexity. I really like Complexity's roster. I really like the storyline behind it and everything, but I do believe that Ground Zero is going to pull through to round 5 somehow. And yes, this is what I wanted. I wanted a Sam OC matchup to see who's going to make top 8. Okay, now we got BDS FaZe. I think BDS should handedly win that. Endpoint Semper. Ooh. All depends on Archie. I think so. All depends on Archie. Semper is a very, very solid team. So is Endpoint. Endpoint struggles. Swiss, it's a tough one. I'm going to say Semper in 5. And next up, we got Furia, Ground Zero. I think Furia wins it in 5 as well. Furia, like I said, highly rate them. They're a team that could play very much upset for me. Ground Zero, I don't think they make any higher than round 5. Now we got playoffs. If you can see, yes. I really, really like this format. It's so incredibly well done. What's his name again? Adam Core. Shout out to Adam Core. Probably not going to get much recognition from me, but I really like how he does this. We've got the playoffs now. NRG Furia. I'm going to say 4-1 to Furia. I don't think Furia makes it farther past 8, especially when they're playing NRG. Ooh, we got G2 Vitality. I think it goes to 7, but I think Vitality... I think it goes either way, honestly, but I think Vitality is better on LAN, so I'd pick Vitality. We've got Envy BDS. I love BDS. I really do, but I also love Envy. Oh... BDS can be incredible. I think they easily beat Envy if they play them and they're playing just like they do online. But that all depends on how they do in LAN. That's how it always is, because we haven't seen anybody play for 2 years. I really want to say Envy. I really want to say 4-2 to Envy. I think they can do incredible. Got Dig Semper. I think Dig wins it in 6. Not really much of an explanation there. I just think Dig can be... Oh my god, what did I do? Okay, I fixed it. Never mind. We're alright. Dig is much better than Semper on the day. I think even at LAN, Dig would be better than Semper. They've got Scrub. Scrub knows what he's doing. He's won a world championship before. And now we're into the top 4. We got 2 EU and 2 NA. NRG Vitality. You see, Vitality can very much win this match. Honestly, there's like 11 teams that I think could win it all. Like this top 11 right here, I think they could all win it all. I'd say 7. 7 NRG. NRG doesn't normally go to 7 or 5. But I'm going to say it. I'm going to say that they go to 7. Vitality's going to push them, and I think they're going to perform better than anyone's ever seen them, because Justin's going to pop off. Dig Envy. Envy's more consistent. I think both go to 7. If these happen, I think both go to 7. Envy is way more consistent than Dignitas is. Apparently Jack, if he does incredible, I think they could sneak past Envy. But I think Envy is way more consistent and can be much better than Dignitas. Grand Final. What everyone was waiting for. Will it be Envy or will it be NRG? I think it goes to 3 series, because they've played before in Grand Finals and they've pushed each other to 3 series. It was absolutely incredible series. You should go watch it. I think Envy is going to surprise them. They're not going to expect it going into it. But then I think NRG is going to push it to 7, and then they're going to run away with it, win it in 6. Because if Vitality pushes them to 7, I think they're going to pop off and they're going to have a rough start to begin, because they're going to come off a high and they're going to drop pretty quickly. But I do believe that they will come back from that and absolutely demolish them. I don't think Atomic and Mist will be ready for that situation, but it'll give him experience. Turbo's used to it, so he's not going to worry about that. I think NRG is going to take it. I think they're going to be major favorites. And MVP. I'm going to go with MVP. I haven't seen anyone else do this, but I'm going to go with who the MVP is going to be. I'm going to say Justin. Justin's going to pop off no matter what, probably. He's absolutely nuts. These are my predictions. I've seen lots of people predict it, and I see NRG go to top 4 at least, like every time. So they're very much the favorites. But I think, like I said, there's so many teams that could win this. Envy could win it, Dig could win it, G2, Vitality, Semper definitely could if they're having a good day, BDS could, Furia maybe, Ground Zero maybe. I doubt these two, but they're very much, it's possible. Endpoint can do it if they're having a good day, FaZe can do it if they're having a good day, even SRG really. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to start making more content because I've got free time for a while now. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, do whatever. I'm really looking forward to watching this. Yeah, that'll be it. See you all. Goodbye. Love you.